Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sama. So I just wanted to film a quick video just to talk about the heartbreaking story of Nigerian pastor that has recently been going viral for saying that he bought his third private jet during the COVID lockdown. And he said he was praying for COVID not to end. And I think he said something like his wife said, "Can life be so sweet?" So the video has been going viral recently. Why I call it a heartbreaking story is that if a lot of you remember that during the lockdown, a lot of you would have remembered how Nigerians were struggling. They were struggling to survive for the period of the lockdown. Sorry, I'm using my phone and I'm holding my phone. I think it's shaking. Hopefully it doesn't shake too much. I'm going to try my best to hold it. I didn't want to be honest, I didn't want to kind of set up a camera and start filming, whatever, but I just wanted to quickly make this video. Like I was saying, I call it heartbreaking because a lot of us know how Nigerians in Nigeria were struggling, and heartbreaking because if you think about, we saw the videos, pictures of people going to this warehouse where the COVID relief food were stored away and the masses had no access to them. Until date, there's no investigation as to who locked away all these palliative, all these, like they call them, the palliative food that were stored away while people were starving till date. But just to imagine that while Nigerians were fighting over food that were stored away, if you think about those heartbreaking pictures, the stampede and the rush for people to grab, there were even videos of people that got hurt in the process of trying to get food for their families to survive. While that was going on, a pastor went and got a private jet. Okay. And I'm going to keep using that word heartbreaking. And then something else I want to say is that I don't want to actually mention the name of this pastor. You know why I want to do that is I find that when you mention a name, people that when you mention a name, their followers come, and as far as they are concerned, it is that name that you have mentioned that they hear. They hear nothing else. Okay, nothing else you say goes in, because they have been, like, if I can use the word, it's almost like they are programmed. It's almost like some of them are programmed to defend that name whenever they hear it. They don't care about anything else. That if I mention that name, the need to defend that name becomes a priority. Not even what I'm talking about. It is that need to defend the name that becomes a priority. So I said, no, let me not even mention the name. Let me actually make it about the topic. Okay? A lot of you know who it is. Okay? But let me actually leave the name out and see if it will help these people to listen to what I'm talking about. I'm so sorry, guys. I feel like the camera is really shaking a lot. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry, guys. So let me actually leave the name, and if you guys can, please leave the name out in the comment section. Let's see if it will help these people to actually focus on the subject or the issue that's been discussed rather than the need to defend the name. Because when you mention a name, somebody comes out and be like, he's my friend. So they want to defend him because he's their friend, regardless of what is being talked about. Somebody comes out, he's my papa. He's my daddy. He is my whatever. So let's actually leave the name and talk about this issue. So we say a pastor in Nigeria. Okay. Now, so to imagine that while that was going on, this stampede and everything, look at the hundreds of thousands of Nigerians, were fighting for just food to put in their stomach because of the lockdown, right? And while that was going on, somebody is sitting comfortably in his house and he's buying a new private jet. It's heartbreaking. And then to imagine all of that, and then people that were sick around the world, and people that lost their lives, that lost their loved ones. I'm trying not to get emotional about this, but I'm even getting emotional talking about it. I'm being honest with you guys. I watched the video about a girl that said that her parent No, we're not gonna cry. You know, her father ended up in a ICU, and they couldn't go to see him, and he was stuck in hospital, you know, all by himself. They could do video calls, but at a point he was so unwell he couldn't do video calls anymore. And later on the mother became unwell as well and ended up in hospital. Exact same story. At a point the parents were like kind of like in opposite rooms, but they couldn't see each other. Okay, and they died without okay, we're not gonna cry, we're not gonna cry. So they died in the same hospital, and couldn't even see each other. They died the same hospital, neighboring rooms, but they died alone. Whew. They died alone without their children by their sides. Right? They died alone, okay? And of all of that, a lot of healthcare workers, a lot of essential workers, a lot of people around the world. This pandemic messed up with people so bad. What about Nigerians living abroad that went to Nigeria for whatever reason, and they had COVID and they died, and all of those things? And while the whole world was going through all of these things, a pastor, okay, a so-called pastor, said he was praying for COVID not to end. Like, that is sad. There is no other word but the word sad. That is sad. That he was praying for COVID not to end. That's what he said. You know why? Because he wasn't affected. For COVID not to end, think about all the lives that have been lost. And somebody could make a statement like that. Another thing about private jet, because when you talk, some people be like, oh, you're jealous, you're this, you're that. He said it's his third one. Okay? Now, the question is, why does anybody need 3 private jets? 3, right? And then to think that the world was in such a commotion and people were dying of hunger. Some people were dying of the COVID itself. And while the whole world was shut down, you can't fly, you can't go anywhere, somebody could sit comfortably and buy another private jet. Private jet, you cannot fly because there was a lockdown. Nobody was allowed to fly. And somebody could sit comfortably in his own home with a commotion around the world. People in Nigeria, the same country where you're living, were struggling for food to eat. And somebody sat down and thought that it was a good idea to buy a private jet at a time when you cannot even fly. Like I said, this person has 2 already. This was the 3rd one, right? And bought a 3rd one to just buy it and keep. Buy it at a time when nobody was allowed to fly. So basically, spend these millions of dollars on a private jet and kept it. You're not flying with it, you're not doing anything with it, and just bought it and kept while people were hungry and starving. If that is not heartlessness, I wonder what is. And, you know, at a time like that, already have 1, have 2, and bought a 3rd one. At a time when you can't even fly. At a time when you can't even fly, and just kept it there. Where is the heart of Christ in that? Where is Christianity in that? Where is, you know, because unfortunately, like sometimes it's so sad that there are people that are actually comfortable to come out and call white black and call black white. They see daylight and say, no, that is night time. And you can see daylight. And some people are coming out and say, no, there is night time. There are people that will, believe it or not, will actually come out. There are people that will come out and defend this. That somebody said he got his third private jet at such a time, right? And say that they were praying for COVID not to end. There are people that will still come out and defend this. It's really heartbreaking because at the end of the day, I can tell you there are a lot of pastors, the money they have piled up for themselves and their families, if they were to keep only 10% of it, they will be well off. They will be well off. And then you see, they say they are sharing money. They are trying, they're helping people and they are sharing 5,000, which can do nothing for most households. 5,000 that can do basically nothing for most households. And don't forget that if people like us can give 5,000 during lockdown to people, to people, and then somebody that is sitting on millions and millions of dollars is giving 5,000 as well. And to think, I've made videos where I showed you guys what the Bible says about what the apostles did. The Bible said that they distributed to everyone. The things that were brought to the apostles were distributed to everyone according to their needs. These things don't really happen anymore. I'm not saying there may be one or two few pastors that do it, but a lot of them do not do it. And when they say bring into the household of God, bring to the storehouse, they don't tell you in the Bible that they brought to the storehouse, what was it used for? They were used for the people. The Bible says that there may be food in my house. The Bible says, bring, that there may be food in my house. What was the food used for? What was the food used for? They say, give to God, give to God, give to God. God does not come down from heaven to take what has been given to him. It is to look after people. That money that was spent on private jet, you see those warehouses that palliative were hidden in. A lot of churches can even do more than that. People will say, yeah, they are not the government. And I will tell you that in the Bible, when their apostles distributed to everyone according to their needs, there was government in the land when they did that. When Jesus fed the multitude, there was a government in the land when Jesus did that. When the Bible talks about, when you do this to the least of my brethren, when you do this to my brothers and sisters, you're doing it to me. The Bible knows that there will be government in the land. And yet the Bible says these things. Honestly, I didn't want this video to be too long, but wait for it. Wait for it. People will defend this. But tell me how you can defend the actions of some churches that collect tithes and offerings, and then when people enrich themselves, it's greed. It is greed. There is so much that they can never spend these things in their lifetime. Never spend it in their lifetime. But why I feel like it's heartbreaking is that at that particular time, I even made posts here. They're telling people to donate to people in Nigeria. So people were donating 5,000, 10,000, 3,000 to people. People were donating on Facebook. I made posts on it, and people were donating, and all of those things. Because a lot of people, their hearts were there to help people. And yet, of all the commotion going on in the world, a so-called pastor could say that he was praying for COVID not to end, for COVID not to end. And to say at that time, when there was so much uncertainty, and people were not even allowed to fly, somebody comfortable bought another jet, basically bought it and just parked it somewhere. He didn't need it. You need have one jet, okay? Okay, two. Do you need two? And then you wanted three, and you wanted a third one. Why there was so much commotion going on in the world. Like I said, at a time when buying a private jet, knowing that we're not allowed to fly. So even though if you wanted to fly, you couldn't fly with the first one. You couldn't even fly with the second one because nobody was allowed to fly. But bought a third one, knowing fully well that I'm acquiring this thing to just park it and then sit down and watch your telly and see people stumbling on each other just to get food for their stomach, and see people, suffering, and you have the heart. I don't even know what else. I honestly didn't want to make a video about it. I said, no, I'll make a video about it because it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking that somebody would just acquire a third one and just leave it there, and then sit at home and watch the telly and see the stampede and see people rolling over each other, see people, see Nigerians like ants fighting over just food. Oh, fighting over food to eat, and you just sit there and your conscience didn't even get affected. Your conscience didn't even get affected at all, and you could sleep at night. You could sleep at night seeing all of that going on. Oh yes, I have 3 private jets, and your fellow human beings, people Jesus died. Anyways, feel comfortable. Your conscience wasn't even bothered that you were buying, that you just bought a private jet, and that could have fed so. Anyways, I don't even know what else to say. The question you ask yourself is, will Jesus do the same? Will Jesus do the same? If Jesus could not leave the multitude without food, if Jesus could feed the thousands that followed him, Jesus could feed the thousands because he could see that they were hungry and he was touched in his heart to feed them. Will Jesus acquire private jets and leave them Third one, why there was a pandemic, and sit down and watch other people suffer with Jesus still there. As always, whatever your opinions are, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Until the next time, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.